His hand touched mine under the table. Right there, at Christmas dinner, with my husband sitting 2 seats away, carving the turkey like everything was normal. I didn't move my hand. That's the part I've never said out loud before. I didn't move my hand. 22 years, that's how long I carried that moment. 22 years of birthday cakes and holiday photos and family hugs at the front door. 22 years of looking my husband in the eye and smiling like I had nothing to hide. His father, my father-in-law, the man who walked me down the aisle when my own father couldn't be there, and I let it happen. I didn't just let it happen once.
Hello, welcome to my channel. My name is Alice. On this channel, we tell stories that someone somewhere is afraid to tell the story first. Before I take you back to Diana's story, please, if you are new on this channel, you're welcome. Please do me well to subscribe to this channel and keep updated. We are back. We are going to be dropping at least 1 video in a day. Please subscribe and turn on your notifications so you won't miss other videos that will be dropping on this channel. Let me take you back to where the story really begins, because it did not start at the Christmas table. The whole thing started before anyone could even knew about it. So stay tuned.
I married David when I was 26. He was kind, genuinely kind. The type of man who remembered small things, how I liked my coffee, which side of the bed I needed, that I hated the sound of the television when I was trying to think. Our first apartment had yellow walls. We painted them together on a Saturday and laughed when I got more paint on myself than on the wall. That kind of happy. That simple, uncomplicated, nobody is pretending kind of happy. His parents came for dinner every second Sunday. His mother, Carol, was warm and loud and always brought too much food. His father, Robert, was quieter, measured, the kind of man who listened more than he spoke and made you feel important when he finally did speak. I liked Robert. I genuinely liked him as a person. He asked real questions, not small talk questions, real ones. He wanted to know what I thought about things, my work, my opinions, my plans. David was loving, but David was busy. Robert paid attention in a way that felt different. I told myself it was just a good relationship with my father-in-law. I told myself that for a long time. The first moment I felt something shift, I was standing in their kitchen. Carol was outside. David was watching something in the living room. Robert and I were washing dishes side by side, and he said, quietly, without looking at me, "David doesn't know how lucky he is." I laughed it off. But I thought about that sentence for 3 days straight. It didn't happen all at once. That's what people don't understand. There was no single moment where I looked at Robert and thought, "This is wrong, and I'm going to do it anyway." It wasn't like that. It was slower, much slower, like water finding a crack in a wall. You don't see it happening, you only see the damage later. He started texting me, small things at first. A news article he thought I'd find interesting. A question about a book I'd mentioned. Nothing that would look strange if David had picked up my phone and read it. But I knew. Somewhere underneath the normal words, I knew. I started getting ready differently on Sunday dinners, not dramatically, just a little more carefully. I noticed when he walked into a room. I noticed when he left one, and I hated myself for noticing. I was not an unhappy wife. That's the thing that has taken me years to understand about myself. I loved David. I was not looking for a way out. I was not starving for attention. But something in the way Robert saw me, fully, quietly, completely, filled a space I hadn't even known was empty. I told myself I was just being appreciated, that it was harmless. I told myself that right up until the evening I stayed behind to help clean up, and Carol fell asleep on the sofa, and David had already gone home ahead of me, and Robert and I were alone in that kitchen. Again, and this time neither of us laughed anything off. The drive home that night was the longest 20 minutes of my life. My hands were shaking on the steering wheel, not from fear. From knowing clearly, completely, with no room left for pretending, that something had just changed that I could not unchanged. And that it wasn't going to stop there. It went on for 7 months. 7 months of stolen hours and careful lies and becoming very good at the kind of smile that shows teeth but hides everything else. And then Carol got sick. Not seriously at first. A diagnosis that scared everyone but felt manageable. The family pulled closer together. More visits, more phone calls. More Sunday dinners that now felt like standing on glass. David started going to his parents' house alone some evenings. To sit with his mother. To help his father with things around the house. I should have felt relief. Distance. A natural way for it to stop. Instead, I felt something I am still ashamed of. I felt left out. That was the moment I understood how far gone I already was. The night it ended, the night everything broke open, was a Tuesday in March, cold, gray, completely ordinary from the outside. David came home earlier than I expected. I was on my phone. Robert's name was on the screen. David didn't say anything at first. He just stood in the doorway and looked at me with an expression I had never seen on his face before. Not anger. Something worse than anger. Something quiet and collapsing. He said, "How long?" Not a question, a statement. Like he already knew and just needed to hear me confirm it. I put the phone down on the table, face down, which told him everything before I said a single word. I said his name, just David. Like his name alone could somehow hold all the things I didn't know how to say. He sat down slowly in the chair by the window, the chair he always sat in to read. And he put his face in his hands and he didn't cry. He just sat there, completely still, like a man trying to remember how to breathe. I stood across the room from him. I couldn't move toward him. I didn't have the right. He asked me who. I couldn't say it. I shook my head. He asked again, still calm, still that terrible quiet. I said, "Please don't ask me that." And I watched his face change as he understood. As the only answer that would make me say that settled into him like something cold, he stood up. He picked up his keys from the counter. He walked to the front door. He stopped with his hand on the door and he said, without turning around, "My father." Again, not a question. He walked out. The door didn't slam. That was the worst part. It closed softly. Like even the house knew there was nothing left worth breaking. I sat on the kitchen floor for 2 hours. I don't remember deciding to sit down. I just ended up there. What happened that night was the end of one life and the beginning of something I didn't have a name for yet. But the story, the real story, was only just starting. David didn't come home that night. Or the next one. He stayed with a friend. I found that out through a text he sent on the second day. 4 words. "I'm safe. Don't call." That was it. That was all I got. I called in sick to work. I sat in our apartment with the yellow walls, and I looked at everything we had built together, and I felt like a stranger inside my own life. Robert called me once. I stared at his name on the screen until it stopped ringing. Then I blocked the number. That was the easiest decision I made in that entire period. Maybe the only easy one. Carol never found out. She passed away 14 months later, still believing her family was whole. I have complicated feelings about that I will carry for the rest of my life. David came back after 11 days. Not to reconcile, to talk. There's a difference, and he was very clear about it. We sat at the kitchen table for 4 hours. He asked every question he needed to ask, and I answered every single one. No softening, no protecting myself. He had earned the full truth, and I gave it to him. He cried once, briefly. Then he stopped and went back to asking questions like a man who needed to understand before he could decide anything. We tried. For 8 months, we tried. Counseling, long conversations. Some nights that felt almost like before, and some mornings that felt completely hopeless. He tried genuinely. I tried genuinely. But there are some things that live permanently in the air between two people. You can't clear them out no matter how hard you both breathe. We separated quietly. No drama. No lawyers fighting over things. Just two people who had loved each other honestly, dividing a life that one of them had fractured. He has a good life now. I know this because we live in the same city and small cities talk. He remarried 4 years ago. His wife seems warm. I'm glad for him. I mean that without any performance. What I understand now that I could not have understood then is that I was not looking for Robert. I was looking for the version of myself that felt fully seen, and I chose the most destructive possible path to find her. That understanding doesn't erase anything, But it's the only thing I have that's true. And I'd rather carry a hard truth than a comfortable lie. And I'm talking directly to you now. If you found out recently, if your world cracked open days ago or weeks ago and you are still in that place where you wake up and for 1 second everything feels normal and then it hits you again, I see you. Don't let anyone rush you through this. You are not weak for not being okay yet. You are not broken for still loving someone who hurt you. What you are feeling right now is real, and it deserves time and space and zero apology. Just keep breathing seriously, just that, for now. If you've been suspicious for a long time, if you've been living with that quiet, exhausting feeling that something is wrong but you can't prove it, and some days you wonder if you're imagining the whole thing, you're not imagining it. Your body knows things before your mind is ready to accept them. The question of whether to look for the truth, that's yours alone to answer. But stop telling yourself you're crazy. You're not crazy. You're paying attention. If you are the one who cheated, if you're watching this and something in your chest has been sitting heavy since the first minute, I'm not here to make you feel worse than you already do. But I want to ask you one honest question, not out loud, just to yourself right now. Is the person you're with getting the real you? Or are they loving someone you've been carefully constructing for them? Because that question, that one quiet question, is where everything starts. If you thought you were over it, if you healed or you thought you did, and something in Diane's story quietly reopened a door you had painted shut, that doesn't mean you haven't healed. It means some experiences don't fully leave. They just get quieter. And sometimes something reaches in and touches the part that's still tender and you remember, oh, that still lives in me. That's not failure. That's just being human.
If this story reached something real inside you, this channel exists for exactly that reason. Every week, real stories, real people, real pain, and real survival. No filters, no neat endings, no pretending that life is tidier than it actually is. If you want a place that tells the truth about love and loss, and everything complicated in between, subscribe to Reality with Alice, and turn on notifications so you never miss a story that might be exactly the one you needed that day. I want to know where you are watching this from tonight, and if Diane's story touched something in your own life, something you've carried, something you've survived, something you're still in the middle of, drop one word in the comments. Just one word that says where you are right now. You don't have to explain it. You don't have to tell the whole story. Just one word. The right people will understand exactly what you mean. Before you close this video, think about one person, not a group. Just one specific person in your life who is quietly carrying something heavy right now, who hasn't said it out loud, but you can see it in the way they go a little still sometimes. Send this to them. No message needed, just the video. They'll know why you thought of them. Whatever you're carrying tonight, you've been carrying it long enough alone.